There's a moment when silence says more than a scream. Lewis Hamilton stood before the cameras after the Bahrain test, calm, composed. But beneath the surface, something cracked. He didn't throw punches, he dropped clues. No grip, ridiculously complex, slower than F2. Not complaints, not excuses, signals. And when a 7-time world champion starts speaking in code, maybe it's because no one's been listening when he speaks plainly. So the real question is, what message did he leave hidden in plain sight? And why is no one talking about it? At first glance, it looked like just another media day. Another dusty afternoon under the Bahraini sun. Lewis Hamilton, standing in front of the cameras, cool as ever, described the track as dirty, the wind as brutal, the grip as non-existent. Business as usual, right? Not quite. Because then he said something different. Quietly, almost offhand, this is the lowest grip I've ever felt here in 20 years. Now, if anyone else had said that, it would have been brushed off. But this is Lewis Hamilton, a man who's driven through every evolution of Formula One machinery in the past 2 decades. When he uses words like that, they carry weight. He wasn't commenting on sand, he was documenting a shift, and yet no headlines, no buzz. The broadcast rolled past his words like they meant nothing. But for those of us who listen closely, something felt off. It wasn't what he said, it was how he said it, measured, sharp, intentionally calm. Then, just days later, in the quieter corners of the media, Hamilton said even more. That the 2026 regulations are ridiculously complex. That the cars are so complicated now, it's like you'd need a degree just to understand them. And most provocatively of all, that the current cars feel slower than F2. Pause for a second. Slower than Formula 2? That's not just a jab, that's a statement of rebellion. And when it comes from a man like Lewis Hamilton, it means something deeper. Not just about speed, but about identity, about a sport drifting too far into its own algorithms, and a driver watching it slip away from what it once was. It makes you wonder, is this really just criticism of a car, or is this the opening act of a bigger unraveling? Because when the most successful driver in F1 history starts dropping phrases like that, what is he really trying to warn us about? And more importantly, why isn't anyone listening, would you? Or are we too distracted by the silence? There's a phrase in Formula One that rarely makes it to headlines, but means everything behind the scenes. Race engineer. It's not just a job, it's a lifeline. It's the voice in your ear at 320 km/h, the translator of doubt, the strategist when milliseconds matter. And when Lewis Hamilton in front of the world says that losing that voice is detrimental, you know it's not just about car setup, it's about trust collapsing. Over the past months, Ferrari has been reshuffling engineers in ways that don't make sense to outsiders, and probably not even to insiders. No clear messaging, no consistent names. The kind of instability that makes a car feel like a stranger and a strategy sound like noise. Now imagine being Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, a driver who redefined an era, and yet you walk into the garage and realize you're the only constant left. Faces change, dynamics shift, and slowly, without headlines, the structure around you begins to erode. It's subtle, and that's what makes it dangerous. Hamilton's words weren't shouted, they didn't need to be. Detrimental. Oh, that's not a dramatic word. It's a precise one. It carries calculated disappointment, the kind that only comes when expectations have been systematically worn down. The most haunting part? His team didn't deny it. No counterstatement, no reassuring interviews, just silence, and a row of corporate answers polished until they said absolutely nothing. So what do you do when the very machine built to amplify your voice starts muting it? What happens when the place you helped make legendary begins reshaping itself without you? This isn't just about a team. It's about a legend discovering that loyalty in this sport is sometimes just another tool to be retired. And if Lewis Hamilton is starting to feel like a guest in his own story, what does that mean for the rest of the grid? What happens when the foundation starts to shake and no one seems ready to hold it up? In a sport measured in thousandths of a second, even silence can be strategic. And when a driver like Lewis Hamilton, someone who's built his career-defying odds, suddenly calls for a level playing field, we have to ask, who's tilting it? This wasn't a rookie crying foul. It was the most decorated driver in F1 history, issuing a calculated phrase that echoed far beyond the paddock. And the timing? It couldn't have been more precise. Right after a test session clouded in inconsistencies, right after he'd dropped hints about performance gaps, about technology too complex to track, about an F1 that no longer feels like the F1 he dominated. Behind the scenes, whispers are gaining volume. Rumors of power unit advantages, engines tuned in ways that dodge standardization, exploiting gray areas in the 2026 regulations. Talk of hybrid interpretations that some teams allegedly understood better, or perhaps earlier. And as always in Formula One, if you understand something first, you're not just faster, you're rewriting the outcome. Hamilton's choice of words was sharp. He didn't say it was unfair. He said, "We want a level playing field." That subtle shift in tense, want, not have, tells the real story. The structure of competition is shifting, and the cracks are no longer deniable. Let's connect the dots. A new regulation cycle, a new team environment, new cars that suddenly feel slower than Formula 2. Now ask yourself, if the technical progress is supposed to elevate the sport, why does it feel like it's muffling the few who still race with instinct? In the middle of this storm, Hamilton isn't pointing fingers, but he is lifting the curtain. And perhaps, just perhaps, this isn't about 2026 being a new era. Maybe it's about 2026 being the first season of a game that's already been decided. But here's what you really have to ask. If the rules are no longer the same for everyone, how long before the audience starts noticing too? And more importantly, what happens to the legend who dares to say it out loud? By the time the headlines rolled out, it was already buried. The PR machine had cleaned the stage, a few quotes trimmed to fit a safe narrative. Nothing too bold, nothing too disruptive. Just another testing day in Bahrain. But if you listened carefully, really listened, you'd realize Hamilton didn't give an interview. He left a trail, a map for those who refuse to be fooled. It started with that one eerie sentence, "Lowest grip I've felt in 20 years." Then moved to unsettling truths, that the cars feel slower than F2, that the new rules are so complex you'd need a degree to understand them. That engineer after engineer is being quietly removed from Ferrari's internal structure. And finally, the dagger. We just want a level playing field. It's all there, hidden in plain sight. No names, no accusations, because Hamilton doesn't need to scream to shake the ground. And now, we see the full picture. This isn't about tire wear or engine upgrades. This is about erosion, the gradual disassembling of a man's influence piece by piece while the world watches in slow motion. Hamilton, the man who dragged a sport into a new generation, who became a symbol far beyond F1, now finds himself silenced, not by bans or punishments, but by structure. He's still in the car, still in the garage, still on the grid. But his voice, it's being diluted. And perhaps that's what's most dangerous, because in every system built to reward silence, a single whisper, especially from someone like Lewis Hamilton, can become a weapon. So the question is no longer if something is happening, it's how long it's been happening without us noticing. And now that you've seen the signs, what do you believe is really going on behind the curtain of Formula One? What if Hamilton's words weren't complaints at all, but breadcrumbs? Clues laid out by someone who's seen the inner mechanics of Formula One like no one else, and who now senses the machine turning against him. Because think about it, when the most successful driver in history starts talking in codes, it's not out of confusion, it's out of strategy. Maybe this isn't a man lost in transition. Maybe it's a man watching a storm build and doing the only thing left to warn us, speaking in truths no one dares to decode. We've seen this before in sport, in politics, in history, when silence becomes too loud to ignore, and yet everyone keeps pretending it's just business as usual. But Hamilton, he's never been one to follow the script. And this time, he may have just handed us the pages the sport didn't want us to read. So now I ask you, do you believe Lewis is being heard? Or is his legacy being rewritten in real time while the world claps along? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation starts now.